The 9,821st meeting of the Security Council is called to order. The provisional agenda for this meeting is maintenance of peace and security, artificial intelligence. The agenda is adopted. Let me start by warmly welcoming the Secretary General, distinguished ministers with us today, other high-level representatives present in the Security Council chamber. I think your presence today underscores the importance of the subject matter under discussion. In accordance with Rule 39 of the Council's Provisional Rules of Procedure, I invite the following briefers to participate in this meeting. Mr. Jan LeCun, Chief AI Scientist, Meta, and Jacob T. Schwartz Professor of Computer Science, Data Science, Neural Science, and Electrical and Computer Engineering at New York University. And Ms. Feifei Li, Sequoia Professor in the Computer Science Department at Stanford University, Co-Director of Stanford's Human-Centered AI Institute, and member of the Secretary General's Scientific Advisory Board. It is so decided. The Security Council will now begin consideration of Item 2 of the agenda. And I now give the floor to the Secretary General, His Excellency, Mr. Antonio Guterres.
Mr. President, Excellencies, I thank the United States for convening the meeting on artificial intelligence and the maintenance of international peace and security. I briefed this Council about AI in July 2023. As I said then, those that feel like technology is moving very fast must understand a simple fact. Technology will never move in the future as slowly as today. In the short time, artificial intelligence has moved at breakneck speed. Fueled by record investments, today's AI models keep getting more powerful, more versatile, and more accessible, combining not only language, image, sound, video, but also automating decisions. Artificial intelligence is not just reshaping our world, it is revolutionizing it. Tasks that required years of human expertise are now completed in a heartbeat. But risks are equally huge. This rapid growth is outpacing our ability to govern it, raising fundamental questions about accountability, equality, safety, and security, and about humanity's role in the decision-making process. Artificial intelligence without human oversight would leave the world blind and perhaps nowhere more perilously and recklessly than in global peace and security. Mr. President, AI tools are already making a positive difference in countries suffering from conflict and insecurity, identifying food insecurity and predicting displacement caused by extreme events and climate change, detecting and clearing landmines, and soon AI could spot patterns of unrest before violence erupts. But AI has also entered the battlefield in more troubling ways. Recent conflicts have become testing grounds for AI military applications. AI's expansion into security systems raises fundamental concerns about human rights, dignity, and rule of law, from autonomous border surveillance to predictive policing and beyond. I have long warned about unforeseen consequences of AI-enabled systems. Each advance creates new, unimaginable vulnerabilities. The AI arms race creates fertile ground for misunderstanding, miscalculation, and mistakes. AI-enabled cyber attacks could cripple a country's critical infrastructure and paralyze essential services. Most critically, AI is eroding the fundamental principle of human control over the use of force. From intelligence-based assessment to target selection, algorithms have reportedly already been used in making life and death decisions. The convergence of AI with other technologies amplifies these risks exponentially. The integration of AI with nuclear weapons is particularly alarming, with potentially disastrous consequences. We must avoid it at all costs. And looking ahead, quantum AI systems could breach the strongest defenses and rewrite the rules of digital security overnight. Let's be clear. The fate of humanity must never be left to the black box of an algorithm. Humans must always retain control over decision-making functions, guided by international law, including international humanitarian and human rights laws and ethical principles. Humanity's end created AI. Humanity's end must guide it forward. Mr. President, beyond weapon systems, we must also address other risks to peace and security posed by artificial intelligence. AI creates highly realistic content that can spread instantly across online platforms, manipulating public opinion, threatening information integrity, and making truth indistinguishable from outright lies. Deepfakes could trigger diplomatic crises, incite unrest, and undermine the very foundations of societies. The environmental footprint of AI also poses distinct security risks. The massive energy and water consumption of AI data centers, combined with the rush for critical minerals, is creating dangerous competition for resources and geopolitical tensions. Mr. President, unprecedented global challenges call for unprecedented global cooperation. In July 2023, I welcomed calls from some member states for the creation of a new United Nations entity to support collective efforts to govern AI and to establish and administer internationally agreed frameworks and mechanisms of monitoring and governance. Since then, a series of initiatives has prompted high-level discussions around international peace and security implications, including the responsible applications of AI in the military domain. Declarations on AI have been issued from many member states, regional groups, and international organizations. The United Nations has pursued efforts to reduce fragmentation of the AI governance and help bring these separate initiatives towards a common framework. The General Assembly has adopted 2 resolutions on AI, promoting enhanced global cooperation and capacity building. A 3rd resolution, focusing on AI in the military domain, has been recommended by the First Committee and will be considered by the General Assembly in the coming days. Drawing from extensive global consultations, my high-level advisory body on AI has developed in record time a blueprint for addressing both the profound risks and opportunities that AI presents to humanity. Their work laid the foundation for a framework that connects existing initiatives and ensures that every nation can help shape our digital future. The United Nations Global Digital Compact transforms this shared vision into action. Adopted by leaders at the Summit of the Future, the Compact represents the first universally endorsed framework on AI governance. It commits to establishing an independent international scientific panel on AI and initiating a global dialogue on AI governance within the United Nations, giving every country a seat at the table. And the Compact requests options for innovative financing to build AI capabilities where they are needed most, ensuring developing countries receive our full support. A world of AI haves and have-nots would be a world of perpetual instability. We must never allow AI to stand for advancing inequality. Only by preventing the emergence of fragmented AI spheres can we build a world where technology serves all humanity. Monsieur le Président,
Mr. President, Excellencies, our next steps will be crucial, and the choices we make now will define our future. Every moment of delay in establishing international guardrails increases the risk for us all. I urge Member States to move swiftly in establishing the International Scientific Panel on Artificial Intelligence and launching the Global Dialogue on AI Governance within the United Nations. I also reiterate my call for banning lethal autonomous weapons. We must establish new prohibitions and restrictions on autonomous weapons systems by 2026. No country should design, develop, deploy, or use military applications of artificial intelligence in armed conflict that violate international law, humanitarian law, and human rights. That includes relying on artificial intelligence to select or engage targets autonomously. Members of this Council must lead by example and ensure that competition over emerging technologies does not destabilize international peace and security. I urge you all to join forces to build a safe, secure, and inclusive AI future. Thank you.
Je remercie le secrétaire général
I thank the Secretary General
for your briefing. I now give the floor to Mr. Jan LeCun.
Merci, Monsieur le Secrétaire,
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General,
pour cette invitation.
and thank you for this invitation.
Secretary General, Excellencies, AI will profoundly transform the world in the coming years and decades. Simply put, AI will amplify human intelligence. AI is accelerating progress in science and medicine. AI is facilitating access to information and knowledge. AI is making more people more informed, more creative, and more productive. In the coming decade, AI will become pervasive. Everyone will have access to virtual staff of AI assistants at all times. They will help us in our daily lives like a staff of human assistants. We will interact with them through wearable devices like smart glasses and smartphones. They will provide easy access to knowledge in every language in the world. AI will supercharge productivity and human creativity. It will help countries with aging and decreasing populations. It will turbocharge scientific and technological progress. It will help us solve some of the biggest problems facing humanity, such as climate change, the treatment of cancer, as well as endemic or chronic diseases. AI systems will eventually constitute a repository of all human knowledge. AI systems are produced in two phases. One is training a foundation model, and the second phase is fine-tuning it for a particular application. Foundation models must be trained on all the world's cultural materials in all languages if we want them to be accessible and useful to everyone around the world. Since all of our digital diet will eventually be mediated by AI systems, fine-tuned systems need to be numerous, diverse, to represent all cultures and value systems around the world. Two conditions are necessary for this to happen. Foundation models must be free and open source. And second, training must be performed in a collaborative and distributed fashion in multiple data centers around the world. Governments and the private sector must work together to ensure this global network of infrastructure exists to support the development of AI, enabling people all over the world to participate in the creation of a common resource. The future of AI is inevitably one in which free and open source foundation model will dominate. History shows that infrastructure software platforms always end up being open source. For example, the software infrastructure of the internet and the mobile communication networks are entirely open source. It is clearly unacceptable for many governments around the world that the digital diet of their citizens be controlled by a handful of companies. Meta has taken a leading role in producing and distributing free and open source foundation models, such as the Llama family. Llama has enabled the emergence of an entire AI industry around the world. It's been downloaded 650 million times since mid-2023. 85,000 open models derived from Llama have been published around the world, all open. A quickly growing number of companies, large and small, as well as government institutions, nonprofits, etc., build custom products and services by fine-tuning Llama foundation models. Applications include sectors such as agriculture and food production, education, healthcare, manufacturing, environmental preservation. We have observed an acceleration of progress due to the open source nature of Llama and other similar models through contributions from academic labs, independent developers, startup companies, and large corporations. There's a big question about safety. AI applications, of course, must be deployed safely. Foundation models must go through rigorous testing and red teaming. Historically, though, open source platforms have been more secure than proprietary ones. And predictions of a flood of AI-generated disinformation due to the availability of AI systems have clearly been overblown. There is no evidence that current forms of AI present any existential risk or even a significantly increased threats over traditional technology such as search engines and textbooks. Current AI technology is very focused on text and language, not on the real world. This limits its applicability at present. Current AI systems do not understand the real world, do not have persistent memory, and cannot really reason and plan. They cannot learn new skills with the same speed and efficiency as humans or even animals. But AI will make dramatic progress over the next decade. There is no question that at some point in the future, AI systems will match and surpass human intellectual capabilities. They will be very different from current AI systems. They will be capable of understanding the physical world, to remember, to reason and plan. They may have some level of common sense. It will not happen tomorrow, probably over the next decade or two. Those superintelligent systems will do our bidding and remain under our control. They will accomplish tasks that we give them, subject to safety guardrails. Guardrails will shape their behavior similarly to how inviolable laws would shape human behavior. It is often said that AI is enabling the next industrial revolution. I think the effect of AI on society may be more akin to the invention of the printing press and the wide dissemination of knowledge through printed material. By amplifying human intelligence, AI may bring not just a new industrial revolution, but a new renaissance, a new period of enlightenment for humanity. In this way, AI can contribute towards the maintenance of international peace and security, the vital mission of the UN Security Council, by supercharging the diffusion of knowledge and powering global economic growth. As with the internet, international cooperation should focus on two initiatives: collecting cultural material, providing AI-focused supercomputers in multiple regions around the world, and establishing a modus operandi for the distributed training of a free and open universal foundation model. Second, unifying the regulatory landscape so that the development and deployment of open source foundation model is not hindered. Merci beaucoup pour votre attention.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. LeCun, for the very thoughtful briefing. I now give the floor to Ms. Fei-Fei Li, joining us virtually.
Thank you, Secretary Blinken, for inviting me here today. It's truly an honor. And thank you, Secretary General Guterres and Dr. Jan LeCun, for your remarks. Distinguished members of the United Nations Security Council, I have spent my entire career working in the field of artificial intelligence, with over 25 years dedicated to studying, developing, and understanding this transformative technology. One thing is clear: never before have we stood at such an extraordinary intersection of scientific possibilities and urgent global responsibility. My area of expertise in AI is computer vision. deep learning, robotics learning, and AI for healthcare. Recently, I have focused on a new technology called spatial intelligence in the age of Gen AI. That is how AI systems perceive and interact with the 3D virtual and physical worlds. This work has illuminated further promises of this technology, bringing us to some of the most exciting frontiers of innovation. For example, robots that can navigate disaster zones to save lives, precision agriculture system that can address food insecurity, and advanced medical imaging tools that can improve healthcare outcome. These advancements highlight the incredible potential of this technology to help people drive scientific discovery and improve our world. Yet, we must also remain vigilant. The same capabilities that hold such promise can be misused. This duality, the ability to profoundly help or harm, lies at the heart of AI's impact on peace and security. This is why public sector leadership and a human-centered AI approach are critical. I want to reflect today on how we, governments, researchers, and global citizens can ensure that AI serves humanity rather than undermining it. First, a vibrant and healthy AI ecosystem is essential to ensure that the transformative benefits of AI reach everyone. Right now, due to the vast amount of compute and data required to train these systems, much of the innovation in AI is concentrated in the hands of a few very large corporations and select nations. While that is one needed perspective, we must broaden the access and benefits of AI. We need to have a well-resourced AI public sector to ensure that AI's benefits are widely distributed and aligned with public interests. Governments should take bold steps to address this gap. We need what we call a moonshot mentality for AI, a commitment to visionary public sector investment that goes beyond incremental reforms. The United States has already taken an important step with its National AI Research Resource Pilot Program, which aims to democratize access to compute resources and government datasets. But this effort must be scaled globally, especially to ensure that no countries are left behind. I urge governments to view AI not just as a technology to regulate, but as a strategic asset to invest in. This means funding basic research, supporting education and workforce development, and creating inclusive platforms for global collaboration. Only with sustained public investment can we ensure that AI reflects the diverse needs and values of humanity. Second, global collaboration has been a cornerstone of my career, from interdisciplinary research teams to cross-country partnerships. It is also the cornerstone of effective AI governance. I have had the privilege of serving on the United Nations Secretary General's Scientific Advisory Board, which studies how scientific and technological progress can support efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. I also appreciate the growing recognition of the need for global safety standards that ensure AI systems are designed and deployed responsibly. But we need to go further. I envision a multilateral AI research institute, MIRI, a network of research hubs bringing together experts across disciplines and pooling resources across nations. Such an institute would do more than advance technical innovation. It would set global norms for responsible AI development and deployment, rooted in democratic values and a commitment to international peace and security. Global collaboration must also address the persistent digital divides that threaten to marginalize some regions of the world. The benefits of AI should not be reserved for wealthy nations. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that everyone has equitable access to AI tools, training, and infrastructure. This is not just a matter of fairness, it's a matter of global stability. Finally, AI's transformative potential is matched by its complexity, demanding careful and evidence-based governance. Policies grounded in rigorous research will pave the way for innovation and global progress. While we have identified risks such as algorithmic bias, disinformation, and misuse of autonomous systems, much remains to be understood about their scale and impact. These are hurdles we can overcome through collaboration and ingenuity. A global research agenda is essential to fill these knowledge gaps and inform targeted interventions. This dedication to evidence-based governance bridges the gap between developers and policymakers, fostering an environment where AI is not only safe and equitable, but also a source of inspiration and progress. As a researcher, a teacher, and a mother, I often reflect on the world we're creating for future generations. Realizing the potential of AI requires vigilance, collaboration, and a shared commitment to human dignity and global stability. I urge you to act with urgency and unity by fostering public sector leadership, championing global collaboration, and advancing evidence-based policy making. We can unlock AI's transformative potential while safeguarding its responsible development. Thank you, Secretary Blinken and Secretary General Guterres, for allowing me the privilege of speaking to you today. I apologize that I must leave later, but this is truly an honor. Thank you.
Ms. Lee, thank you very much for sharing your insight, sharing your ideas with the Council. It's deeply appreciated. I shall now make a statement in my capacity as the Secretary of State of the United States. And let me begin again by thanking both of our briefers, Mr. LeCun, Ms. Lee, for sharing their thoughts with us today. As we've just heard, as I think so many of us know, artificial intelligence has the potential to do enormous good. Scientists are using AI to discover medications that could fight antibiotic-resistant bacteria. AI models are predicting natural disasters more accurately so that communities can better prepare. These tools are identifying new crystal structures that could help us build the next generation of electric vehicle batteries. In these ways and so many other ways, AI could accelerate our progress on nearly 80% of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. At the same time, as we've heard, if it's misused, AI can pose tremendous threats to the international peace and security that this Council is charged with upholding. With AI, hackers can make cyber attacks more destructive, harder to trace. Repressive regimes are using AI-enabled surveillance to target journalists and political dissidents, destabilizing societies. If algorithms are built into weapon systems, and if they malfunction, they could accidentally spark a conflict. By setting rules of the road for AI, we can minimize these risks. We can harness the exceptional promise of this technology, and we can realize the vision that the UN enshrined in the Global Digital Compact, a future where technology is inclusive, where it's open, where it's sustainable, where it's fair, where it's safe, where it's secure for people everywhere. Over the last few years, the United States has been leading international efforts toward these common goals. As home of the world's leading tech companies, we have a responsibility to influence the evolution of artificial intelligence. We're also committed to mobilizing a collective response So we've teamed up with partners in governments, the private sector, civil society, from countries all across the globe to address both the perils and the opportunities of AI. First, our government secured commitments from leading American companies to make AI systems safer. For example, they've agreed to establish, create tools like watermarks that help users recognize AI-generated content. They'll also strengthen their cybersecurity to protect AI models from hackers. With Japan's leadership, the G7 expanded these pledges into a code of conduct for AI developers all across the world. It recommends that they run tests to identify safety risks, that they prioritize research into potential harms, that they publicly report on the limitations of AI to increase accountability. Then, earlier this year, the United States put forward the first standalone UN General Assembly resolution on AI, which every member adopted by consensus. We've committed to promoting safe, secure, trustworthy AI systems that respect human rights and further economic and social progress. We also agreed to make the benefits of AI more accessible, in part by closing the digital divide that still exists around the world. That's something we underscored in a second resolution drafted by China that the UN adopted in June. The U.S. and our partners have developed a global consensus for AI, and now we're building upon it. Last month, the United States launched an international network of AI safety institutes where researchers and experts are creating shared benchmarks for testing and evaluating AI systems. Their recommendations will offer practical guidance for developers and for tech companies. We're also getting and setting ground rules for governments. This year, the European Union, the United States, 9 other countries signed the first international treaty on AI. We pledge to protect human rights, democracy, the rule of law when we use AI. That means safeguarding data privacy. It means adopting transparency and accountability measures. It means implementing other strategies that would limit any harms. The U.S. has rallied nearly 60 governments to commit to guidelines for militaries, too. For example, we want to make sure that senior officials oversee the development and deployment of AI, including in weapon systems, and that these tools are used in ways that follow international humanitarian law. Separately, in a meeting in November, President Biden and President Xi affirmed that only humans should control the decision to use nuclear weapons. While we work to uphold our shared principles for AI, the United States is improving access to this technology so that communities everywhere can benefit. We're teaming up with leading tech companies to host trainings, to build local data sets, to provide AI tools for developers and researchers. This summer, the U.S. and Morocco also established a group at the United Nations, open to all member states, where experts from every region are sharing best practices for adopting artificial intelligence. Now, that's real progress. But for all the progress, I think we all know far more work remains to be done. Nations with leading tech sectors must do more to uphold security standards and prevent AI from being abused. The international community needs to stand together against irresponsible misuses of AI systems. Today, state and non-state actors are increasingly using these tools to influence, distort public opinion, to manipulate geopolitical narratives, to make offensive cyber operations more effective. And this is only going to get worse as AI advances. The United States opposes the malicious use of AI by any actor, and we call on others on this Council to reject and to condemn these practices. We must adhere to our shared norms and build AI systems that are genuinely safe and secure. In the months and years ahead, this Council will have an important responsibility. Since its inception, this body has adapted to address the greatest threats to international peace and security: conflicts, terrorism, the spread of nuclear weapons. If the Security Council is going to continue upholding this responsibility, and the United States believes that it must, it is incumbent on its members to grapple with the evolving risks of artificial intelligence. This requires leveraging our collective power to help set, update, and eventually enforce international norms on AI, because, simply put, this will be vital for lasting security. Now, even with the brilliant minds that we've heard from today, who've done so much to work on the evolution and think about the evolution of AI. I don't think any of us can fully predict what the future holds for AI. To fully understand how this technology changes over time, to stay ahead of the risks that it can pose, we have to continue collaborating. We need to keep working with developers, with business leaders, with members of civil society. If we do this, I'm convinced that we can shape AI for the better so that it remains a force for progress and for the advancement of people all around the world. With that, I resume my function as President of the Council. And I'd now like to give the floor to Her Excellency, Ms. Gabriela Sommerfeld, Minister for Foreign Affairs and Human Mobility of Ecuador.
Señor Presidente,
Mr. President, I thank the United States for convening this important meeting. I also thank the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, and the briefers for their reports. We stand at a juncture which is crucial for humankind, marked by the rapid advancement of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence. Their development presents both unprecedented opportunities and significant risks. Artificial intelligence has transformative potential. It can revolutionize key sectors, drive achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, and buttress peacekeeping operations through early warning systems and by supporting mediation in conflict. However, the unbridled development of these technologies without appropriate regulation and respect for human rights poses significant risks. These risks include that of undermining global stability, concentrating power in an alarming fashion, exacerbating geopolitical tensions, and weakening democratic processes. Moreover, access to these technologies by non-state actors, in particular by terrorist and criminal groups, constitutes a threat to international security. These tools can be diverted to be used for recruitment, coordination, or incitement to hatred and violence. Mr. President, Ecuador recognizes that the pace of progress in artificial intelligence requires global and collective responses. The governance of these technologies which transcend national borders, must be the fruit of an international coordinated effort. With this in mind, we hail the initiatives which led to the adoption of resolutions on artificial intelligence in the General Assembly. Ecuador had the honor of co-sponsoring these resolutions. The beginning of a global dialogue within the framework of the United Nations, as was agreed upon in the Global Digital Compact, is a crucial step forward in order to balance the opportunities and risks linked to these technologies, and in order to guarantee that AI become a driver for collective well-being without leaving any country behind. Ecuador will continue to advocate for artificial intelligence systems which are ethically designed and used, with absolute respect for human rights, systems which promote comprehensive sustainable development across three fronts: economic, social, and environmental. As we welcome the potential of artificial intelligence to demystify global challenges and even to contribute to the eradication of poverty, we must state that the Global South must not allow barriers to be erected to hamper its adoption. We must guarantee universal digital connectivity which is safe and accessible. Connectivity which champions innovation, facilitates the achievement of the SDGs, and promotes international cooperation. This will allow all states to harness the opportunities presented by the digital age. Nationally, Ecuador is already championing the adoption and ethical development of artificial intelligence. We work closely with UNESCO and the UNDP to guarantee that these technologies are used for the benefit of our societies and used responsibly. Mr. President, in the military domain, it is urgent to tackle the challenges arising from the use of artificial intelligence in weapons systems. It is imperative that we move towards a legally binding normative framework, one which regulates the design and use of lethal autonomous systems, ensuring their ethical development and ensuring that they are developed in accordance with international law. President, Excellencies, in today's race for leadership in the development of artificial intelligence, it is vital that practices of governance and regulation keep pace with technological change in order to guarantee that we safeguard international peace and security. Geopolitical conflict cannot prevent us from ultimately adopting a new international body of regulations for physical products which make up artificial intelligence. Neither can it exacerbate divisions regarding intangible assets necessary for technology. Once again, the emerging legal framework which we are calling for must not serve to buttress a divided global order, one in which collective broad-based solutions fail. Neither can it instigate a new technological arms race. Rather, in this era of global turbulence, our common goal must be to prevent the misuse of artificial intelligence without restricting innovation in the process. As has been raised, the idea of creating an international panel similar to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change stands as an interesting one in order to inform governments about the current state of play with AI capacity and in order to present evidence-based forecasts regarding what is to come. As the Secretary General stated, we must commit to a race for the common good, a race to develop artificial intelligence which fosters peace, AI which allows us to build a more equitable, safer and more sustainable future for all nations, with particular emphasis being placed on supporting developing countries. I thank you.
I thank Her Excellency Ms. Sommerfeld for her statement, and I would like to give the floor to Her Excellency Ms. Veronica Nathaniel Akono-Dihowo, Minister for Foreign Affairs and Cooperation of Mozambique.
Muito obrigada, senhor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for giving me the floor. Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to congratulate the United States of America for including among the signature events of its presidency an essential topic and one of great relevance to our lives as states, governments, and citizens of the contemporary world. This inclusion demonstrates a commitment to addressing crucial issues that affect us all and seeking collaborative solutions to global challenges. Our thanks are extended to His Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, for his impactful briefing on artificial intelligence. The vision and the guidance that His Excellency, the Secretary General of the United Nations, provides on the benefits and precautions to be adopted in relation to artificial intelligence are essential and they lead us to a continuous reflection in our societies. Mr. President, as Mozambique's term in the Security Council is about to end, I would like to express on behalf of His Excellency Felipe Jacinto Nyusi, President of the Republic of Mozambique, on behalf of the government of Mozambique and the team that represented our country in this body, our deepest gratitude to the United States and all other permanent and non-permanent members of the Security Council, as well as the Secretariat for the support and collaboration provided since our election to undertake this noble mission. We also wish the new members every success and reiterate our willingness to collaborate on issues of peace and security for the good of humanity. Mr. President, it is an honor to address this council to discuss the critical implications of artificial intelligence in maintaining international peace and security. The topic is extremely relevant in the current context of rapid technological changes and growing geopolitical challenges. Advances in artificial intelligence offer notable opportunities, such as improving decision-making, stimulating agricultural production, eradicating diseases, predicting pandemics, and preventing conflicts. These innovations and benefits, however, also present risks such as the amplification of disinformation, the facilitation of cybercrimes, and the use by terrorist networks for harmful purposes. Excellencies, these challenges require coordinated and collaborative approaches. For Mozambique, it is essential that the international community establishes norms and standards that promote trust and cooperation among states, as well as the safeguard of human rights. Global governance of artificial intelligence must ensure that its use is ethical, responsible, and supervised by humans. Excellencies, the rapid acceleration of technological innovation seen in recent decades has drastically reduced the time international decision makers have to formulate appropriate policies. As an example, while the electrical power grid took 50 years to reach 100 million users, recent artificial intelligence applications like ChatGPT reached the same milestone in just 2 months in 2022. This pace of development, coupled with the dual-use nature of artificial intelligence-based technologies, points to the urgency of anticipatory governance to prevent unintended consequences and mitigate potential risks. The integration of artificial intelligence in the context of peacekeeping and security indeed raises crucial questions about the control of systems operated by artificial intelligence in conflict situations, compliance with international humanitarian law, and the ethical implications of autonomous and automatic decisions in war scenarios. Mr. President, we are encouraged by the fact that the international community is taking these challenges seriously, having recently promoted several initiatives, including multiple debates within the Security Council. We highlight the adoption of General Assembly Resolution 78/265, which marked a significant step in creating a common framework for the use of artificial intelligence in a safe, secure, protected, and reliable manner. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, during this debate, we would like to highlight the importance of aligning artificial intelligence systems with the United Nations Charter and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, highlighting the importance of strengthening capabilities and reducing the digital divide between developed and developing nations. Furthermore, the recently adopted Pact for the Future addresses issues relating to lethal autonomous weapons, the prevention of arms races in outer space, and the protection of critical infrastructure. This is a clear recognition from world leaders of the attention that must be paid to these innovations in science and technology. The Global Digital Compact further reinforces our shared commitment to using technology for the common good. These initiatives represent a foundation on which more robust and inclusive international governance mechanisms can be built. They also present the foundations on which governments, private institutions, and other interested parties can build effective strategies to deal with the challenges posed by artificial intelligence. These initiatives play a fundamental role in stimulating dialogue on the ethical use of artificial intelligence in war contexts and preventing an arms race in the field of technology. Mr. President, my country is committed to developing a legislative and regulatory framework that promotes innovation and the judicious use of artificial intelligence. In November 2022, the National Institute of Information and Communication Technologies in the country presented the draft cybersecurity law to reinforce the protection in the digital world. Additionally, efforts are underway to align national legislation and regional standards and to train qualified resources in data science and programming. We recognize the need for further investment in infrastructure, education, and policies that maximize the potential of AI for sustainable development and peace building. Mr. President, allow me to make some recommendations on the use of artificial intelligence in the context of maintaining international peace and security. First, it is essential to strengthen international cooperation through mechanisms for sharing knowledge in this area between states, the private sector, civil society, and the promotion of a multilateral dialogue on the risks and opportunities associated with AI. Second, it is important to improve international governance structures, developing legally binding standards that regulate the responsible use of artificial intelligence in armed conflicts and prevent misuse to destabilize regions or undermine the sovereignty of states. Third, it is critical to invest in training young people and women on technology, particularly in developing countries, in order to bridge the digital divide through technology transfer and technical support. Fourth and last, ensure that artificial intelligence systems are used to promote transparency, accountability, and justice, safeguarding respect for human rights and international humanitarian law. Mr. President, artificial intelligence offers a unique opportunity to transform the approach to international peace and security. This council has a crucial role in leading efforts to ensure that AI is a force for global peace, progress, and stability. We reiterate our commitment to the responsible use of artificial intelligence, and we are committed to participating in this global debate. It is our conviction that only with a joint effort will we be able to face the challenges and fully enjoy the benefits of technology, especially as artificial intelligence. Thank you very much for your attention, Excellencies. Thank you.
Kombo Yehovo for your statement. And I now give the floor to His Excellency, Mr. Thomas Guver, State Secretary of Switzerland.
Monsieur le Président,
Mr. President, artificial intelligence has had a major impact on UN diplomacy over the past 2 years, and thus marked also Switzerland's term as an elected member of the Security Council. The impact of this technology on the maintenance of international peace and security is a pertinent and timely topic. We would like to thank the United States for organizing this event and the speakers for their insightful presentations. The spread of artificial intelligence is characterized by its extremely rapid pace and its profoundly disruptive nature. However, it is taking place within an immutable framework, that of public international law, including international humanitarian and human rights law. Switzerland strongly reaffirms that this existing legal framework is fully applicable to AI, as we have repeatedly emphasized. Furthermore, ethical considerations must also be taken into account. The Security Council must carefully consider the implications of AI for the maintenance of peace and security. In this regard, Switzerland would like to highlight 3 points. First, the Council must foster an inclusive discussion on AI governance. To make sure that artificial intelligence systems are safe, secure, and responsibly managed and worthy of confidence, effective rules are essential. Countries at the forefront of developing such systems are among the members of this Council. They have a particular responsibility. But the UN also provides a platform for ongoing dialogue that can ensure the interoperability of governance approaches around the world. To be effective, the meaningful inclusion of all stakeholders, state and non-state, is essential. With several resolutions, including in the military field, as well as the Global Digital Compact, the General Assembly has already begun to establish certain principles based on almost 20 years of UN experience in the digital field since the World Summit on the Information Society. This work is complemented by other initiatives such as the Responsible AI in the Military Domain Summit, REAIM. It is essential that this Council also articulate its perspective on inclusive governance in order to contribute to existing processes and deliberations. Second, artificial intelligence is an opportunity for more effective implementation of the Council's mandates. As a tool, artificial intelligence can facilitate the implementation of Security Council mandates. Switzerland organized an area formula meeting in May 2024 to illustrate this potential, particularly in the context of peacekeeping operations. In collaboration with the Geneva-based Diplo Foundation, Switzerland has realized an AI-based tool that facilitates access to and analysis of data from 10 council meetings, with a particular focus on the new agenda for peace. Third, the Council must promote measures throughout the life cycle of AI systems to ensure that they are safe, secure, and responsibly managed. As a priority, the Council must better anticipate the impact of technologies such as AI on the maintenance of peace and security and act preventively. Switzerland organized a Council briefing in October 2024, as well as the publication of a presidential statement on this topic. In this statement, the Council expressed its determination to take more systematic account of scientific advances that could have an impact on international peace and security. At the heart of the development and use of artificial intelligence systems, human beings and their dignity must always be at the core of our concerns. Human rights due diligence and human oversight are two essential elements that must be taken into account. AI also has an important implication in the context of armed conflicts and humanitarian crises. With two exhibitions organized in collaboration with the ICRC, Digital Dilemmas and Deepfakes, Switzerland has used its council presidencies to raise awareness of this issue and the challenges it poses. In partnership with the UNHCR, Switzerland is committed to protecting forcibly displaced persons and humanitarian actors from digital risks such as misinformation and online hate speech. It is therefore exploring how artificial intelligence can help mitigate these risks, particularly in humanitarian contexts. Mr. President, the emergence and spread of technologies such as artificial intelligence have a profound implication for global peace and security. Switzerland is convinced of the importance for the Security Council to systematically address these developments in order to identify the necessary political responses and concrete actions. Switzerland is proud to have contributed ideas and impetus during its term of office as an elected member over the past 2 years. I thank you.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Gerber for his statement, and I now give the floor to the representative of Malta.
Thank you, President. I begin by thanking you for convening and chairing this high-level briefing on this highly topical issue. I also thank the briefers for the valuable insights. The responsible development and use of AI require clear principles and international governance to uphold human dignity through ethical oversight and accountability. Ethical frameworks shared by all stakeholders are essential to safeguarding against harmful effects, including biases impacting marginalized groups. Safeguards to mitigate risks during the design, development, and deployment of AI systems must be integrated, ensuring they do not undermine information integrity and exacerbate digital divides. To ensure AI supports human dignity, ethical oversight must be embedded at every stage. National legislation should mandate principles like fairness, transparency, accountability, and gender equality while preventing discrimination. Human oversight must remain integral, preventing automated decisions from eroding individual rights. By prioritizing safeguards, we can create systems that serve humanity while minimizing risks. With the advancements of AI, also in the military domain, it would be relevant for the international community to reach consensus on the way forward on the discussions being held within a group of governmental experts on lethal autonomous weapons in Geneva, so as to have adequate regulation on autonomous weapons. Decades of research in AI have underscored key lessons. First, inclusive governance frameworks, such as UNESCO's AI Ethical Declaration, emphasize the importance of embedding ethical considerations into AI development. These frameworks ensure AI serves humanity without undermining it. Leadership from women in technology and governance is essential to ensure gender perspectives are included in all AI development. Second, prioritizing human judgment in AI systems reinforces respect for rights and addresses biases affecting underrepresented communities. Third, fostering transparency and accountability builds trust, ensuring alignment with societal values. Finally, capacity building and equitable, mutually agreeable technology transfer empower communities to benefit from AI advancements without compromising dignity. Governing AI depends on diplomatic efforts and consensus building, as seen in the Global Digital Compact. Collaborative efforts establish best practices for testing and help bridge digital divides and enhance security. International cooperation should also prioritize capacity building for developing countries. Empowering all states to participate in AI governance ensures fair representation and equitable access. The GA resolution on AI capacity adopted in July underscores the need for global collaboration aligned with the UN Charter and international law. Such collaboration should promote safe, trustworthy AI technologies while advancing peace, security, and development. Member States can take proactive steps to foster a robust international AI ecosystem. Building consensus on ethical AI use and unified risk mitigation approaches is essential. The proposed Global Digital Compact Office could enhance UN coordination, ensuring AI technologies respect human rights and support sustainable development. Multi-stakeholder collaboration should remain central, incorporating perspectives from governments, private sector, and civil society to uphold human dignity. Member States should prioritize equitable access to AI benefits by investing in data access and capacity building initiatives. Establishing frameworks for cross-border regulation is crucial to mitigate risks like monopolization and ensure fair competition. Public-private partnerships can bridge the technology gap for developing nations. Prioritizing human judgment in AI systems reinforces respect for rights and addresses biases affecting underrepresented communities. Fostering transparency and accountability builds trust, ensuring alignment with societal values. Robust accountability frameworks and national policies aligned with human rights standards are essential to prevent potential abuses. Gender equality must be considered in military AI applications to protect women and girls in conflict zones. Member States must strengthen safeguards against AI misuse, particularly in areas like surveillance and encryption. Independent oversight mechanisms can ensure that military applications of AI uphold global legal and ethical standards. By balancing AI capabilities with ethical use, we emphasize human oversight, transparency, and accountability. In conclusion, President, the responsible governance and development of AI hinges on collaboration, ethical oversight, and adherence to international law. Let us work together to advance safe, trustworthy AI technologies that support peace, security, and development for all. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Malta, and I now give the floor to the representative of the United Kingdom.
Thank you, Secretary Blinken. Let me start by thanking the US Presidency for convening this important meeting and for the international leadership you have shown in the field of AI governance. That includes the first ever GA resolution on artificial intelligence. I'm also grateful to Professors Lee Kun and Professor Lee for their insightful briefings. And I would like to pay tribute to the Secretary General for his consistent campaign to bring to our attention the major opportunities and significant risks of this transformative technology, and to shape the international response. It is 18 months since the UK convened the first Security Council meeting on the security implications of artificial intelligence. As the SG said, things have moved swiftly since then. Significant progress has been made in international collaboration, including the UN Global Digital Compact and the UK-initiated AI Summit Series. In addition to the US GA resolution, we adopted the Chinese-led resolution on AI capacity building, both by consensus. And 2 Nobel Prizes were awarded to AI innovators, both to British scientists. Today, I will focus on our priorities for peace and security, the opportunities AI presents in this field, and how we can share those benefits through capacity building. First, the UK recognises that AI brings risks that could escalate conflicts and cause harm. But it also presents significant opportunities to support international peace and security, including better decision-making, improved early warning systems, and enhanced planning to support resilience and emergency preparedness. The UK welcomes progress to increase international understanding in a military context through the Responsible AI in the Military Domain Summit and the US-led political declaration on responsible military use of AI. The GA resolution on artificial intelligence in the military domain presents an important opportunity to advance efforts for AI's safe and responsible development. AI also offers significant opportunities for peacekeeping. AI can improve missions' data collection, analysis efforts, and their situational awareness and decision-making. The UK is therefore, at the request of the UN's Department of Peace Operations, authoring a paper on the potential uses of AI in peacekeeping. Second, President, AI presents huge opportunities for broader areas that impact on peace and security, such as the enjoyment of human rights, by facilitating greater access to information or improving interpretation of medical data to aid early health diagnoses. As an inaugural signatory to the Council of Europe's AI Convention, the UK is committed to protecting from the risks posed by AI to human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. Finally, the UK is also committed to sharing these opportunities through capacity building. It is important that in contributing to international peace and security, we aim to narrow digital divides. Through the AI for Development collaboration, the UK has donated £58 million to funding multidisciplinary responsible AI research in 6 African countries, with more planned for 2025. Ultimately, we must seize the opportunities and grasp the challenges of AI, including those for international peace and security, decisively and optimistically. And I thank you.
I thank the representative of the United Kingdom, and I now give the floor to the representative of the Republic of Korea.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to begin by expressing my gratitude to the United States for convening this important meeting. I extend my sincere appreciation to the Secretary General for his insightful briefing. I also thank Dr. Yan LeCun and Dr. Fei-Fei Li for their valuable contributions. As an ultimate enabling technology with multiplier effects on all elements of national power, AI has an immeasurable potential impact on international peace and security. As pointed out by many of us at the first Council briefing on AI last year, it can promote international peace and security in various ways, and also as outlined by the Secretary General and the Secretary Blinken today. At the same time, AI can exacerbate risks such as the proliferation of WMDs and sophisticated cyber attacks when used by irresponsible actors such as North Korea, who is engaging in crypto heists to finance WMD programs. AI can also be an unstoppable spreader of disinformation and misinformation or guard against them. To ensure that AI fosters prosperity and benefits rather than posing risks to humanity, it is critical to ensure safe, secure, and trustworthy AI, as well as its responsible use, while promoting innovation. In this regard, the Republic of Korea is actively making efforts to ensure that AI will be conducive to international peace and security. In 2023, we co-hosted the first Responsible AI in the Military Domain RE-AIM Summit with the Netherlands. In May of this year, Korea hosted the AI Seoul Summit and adopted the Seoul Declaration, which underscores the importance of safety, innovation, and inclusivity in AI global governance. In September, we co-hosted the second RE-AIM with the Netherlands, Singapore, Kenya, and the UK. The summit culminated in the adoption of the Blueprint for Action, which contains a contemplation on the impact of AI on international peace and security and the key principles for the responsible military application of AI. In October, at the General Assembly First Committee, the ROK and the Netherlands introduced a resolution on AI in the military domain and its implications for international peace and security. Based on the overwhelming support for this resolution from 165 member states, we are ready to continue to promote discussion on this topic. Mr. President, based on these efforts, I'd like to emphasize the 3 points today. First, AI application must be ethical and human-centric throughout its entire life cycle. To this end, AI applications need to be developed, deployed, and used in accordance with international law, including, as applicable, the UN Charter, international humanitarian law, and international human rights law. In this context, Korea has been introducing the biennial resolution in the Human Rights Council on new and emerging digital technologies and human rights since 2019. Second, we need to identify, internalize, and operationalize relevant principles to ensure responsible AI. We believe that the key principles laid out in the Blueprint for Action from this year's RE-AIM Summit in Seoul can serve as a valuable stepping stone for the international community to achieve the responsible use of AI in the military domain. Third, it is absolutely essential to share information and strategies among all stakeholders, including governments of developed and developing countries, industries, academia, and civil society, to promote a collective understanding of AI technology and its implications, as well as to grasp each other's priorities and approaches, because no single country or entity can govern AI alone or establish relevant norms. To this end, the Republic of Korea plans to launch capacity-building initiatives next year as a follow-up to the ReAIM Summit. Mr. President, in his final book, Genesis, Henry Kissinger observed that AI could fundamentally challenge the entire international system, including even the Westphalia system itself. We are not now only starting to comprehend the profound implications of AI. Facing the immense promises of AI, countries can react differently. Some may focus on safety, some on innovation, and some on finding the best application. But future challenges to international peace and security involving AI can come not only from humans abusing AI, but also from AI being out of human control. And in this hyper-connected world, AI can be a potentially unpredictable threat, as its knowledge can be unlimited, its applications underguided, and its sphere of influence unbounded. Our best hope against this potential boundless threat is borderless cooperation by the peoples of the United Nations. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of the Republic of Korea, and I now give the floor to the representative of the Russian Federation.
Mr. President, we thank the Secretary General, Mr. Guterres, and the briefers for their contribution to the discussion. The Russian Federation attaches a great deal of importance to the development of advanced technologies designed to serve for the good of humanity, including artificial intelligence. At the same time, we are invited today to discuss it in the context of threats to international peace and security. Recalling the past discussion, I'm sure that we can all agree on one thing. We cannot allow AI to dominate human beings and human values. But when it comes to what threats there are on the path to this, there is no unanimity forming in the Council. I would like to begin by saying that we were interested to look at the concept note of the Presidency. In the questions that are proposed, we can see an entirely expected idea, namely, how can we ensure that an international system for AI governance is developed and at the same time make sure that some sectors or states do not fall under that governance? Sounds familiar, no? In this context, I would like to recall similar approaches from other spheres that appear today in all their glory. If, for example, we were to talk about the international trade system, we could recall the Atlantic Charter of August 1941 that contained a reference to the principles of non-discrimination and market efficiency, which formed the basis of the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade and then the WTO. And what do we see today? The USA, that was at the origins of this process, having ensured their leadership in global trade and not wishing to accept their waning domination, are now blocking the work of the WTO and expanding the practice of illegitimate sanctions and other illegal means to take on their competitors. Another example, the fight against climate change. American scientists and politicians did indeed make a sizable contribution to forming their sort of religion of climate alarmism. And what do we see now? The USA is not hesitating to destroy the long and hard-built global climate cooperation in those areas where it contradicts their interests. And another interesting fact, in recent years, on their territory, the United States has only increased the extraction of hydrocarbons and is expanding their export, of course, with the use of measures of unfair competition. Let's take a broader example. For many years, we were told that the process of globalization would bring the benefits of development to peoples if it were governed by the principles of democracy and the laws of the free market and the inviolability of private property. So-called summits for democracy were held. However, today, it is no secret to anyone that Washington is trampling the principles and foundations of sovereign equality and now also the inviolability of state property. having, together with London and Brussels, openly looted foreign gold and currency reserves. As a result, using the words of President Putin, in the existing world order à l'américaine, there is only one rule, that there are no rules. Mr. President, of course, the US has ambitions to think about the fate of all of humanity in the age of the rapid development of AI are entirely understandable to us. At the same time, for the country that initiated today's discussion, it's important for them to understand that their previous approaches of imposing rules on others and at the same time freeing themselves from those rules would be to repeat historic mistakes on the path towards the development of global cooperation. If we were to look at the initiative of the United States on AI in the General Assembly, then it is weighed down by those very selfsame mistakes. And here we have in mind the American resolution of the General Assembly on artificial intelligence, Resolution 78/265. It speaks very eloquently about promoting a fair, open, inclusive, and non-discriminatory business environment to economic and commercial activities. Unfortunately, in actual fact, the authors of the resolution continue to get rid of competitors in bad faith. For example, the Bureau of Industry and Security on the 11th of December took the decision to blacklist another 4 Russian IT companies. One of them is Entech Lab, which specializes in facial recognition. It is known for the fact that its team made the top 5 of the finalists in the MegaFace competition organized by the University of Washington, having beaten a competitor developed by developers from Google. How do you like that fair and inclusive environment? No, colleagues, that rate of progress, as was the case with the agrarian and then the industrial revolution, again, will only be achieved by the flowering garden that only wants to think about how to extinguish the flame in the jungles. Mr. President, we have an opportunity to pool our efforts and together to prevent the Global South from falling behind and to avoid new forms of colonialism and discrimination, because it is deepening the existing technological inequality that constitutes one of the main threats to the development of AI, and also including a threat to international peace and security. The transition to AI-based innovations requires us to overcome the so-called digital divide in order to reduce poverty and facilitate sustainable development. And that divide is indeed vast, because according to forecasts, global state investment in artificial intelligence could reach $632 billion by 2028. The undisputed leaders in this area are the United States, the countries of Western Europe, Japan, and South Korea. And that's without mentioning the private sector, first and foremost the major tech companies like Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, and Amazon that are planning to allocate around $250 billion to the creation of AI infrastructure by 2025. Of course, the countries of the Global South also have their leaders in this area, namely our partners in the BRICS, China and India, but the majority of developing countries do not have the necessary resources for just such an acceleration. For that acceleration, international cooperation is needed, aimed at the transfer of technologies, the development of human capital, the creation of the necessary infrastructure, and increasing the quality of jobs. In that regard, the Russian Federation, among the like-minded group created upon the initiative of China, participated in the development of General Assembly Resolution 78/311, enhancing international cooperation on capacity building of artificial intelligence. That is in line with the priorities of our national artificial intelligence strategy. We intend to provide the countries of the Global South and East with technical assistance to carry out joint projects based on equal access to knowledge and technologies, and it is on the basis of these approaches that last week in Moscow a conference took place entitled AI Journey. Having your own latest generation AI developments is one of the key conditions for the scientific and technological sovereignty of any country. Moreover, we would like to report the launch of the International AI Alliance of National Associations and Development Institutions in the field of AI from BRICS countries and other interested states. At the same time, we are convinced that AI system algorithms must be trustworthy. That is to say, they must be understandable, open, and unbiased, and must be developed taking into account the cultural and national specifics of countries and each civilization, and in accordance with their history, identity, and traditions. As regards the UN's coordinating role on artificial intelligence, we, in line with the provisions of the Kazan Declaration of the 16th BRICS Summit from the 23rd of October, support it as a counterweight to the various non-inclusive formats with a politicized agenda and ad hoc coalitions. At the same time, the key thing for us is reaching universal agreements with a leading role by states based on an equal dialogue among those states, of course, with the necessary account of all the legitimate interests of the participants in the negotiating process. As is understandable from our previous arguments, we do not see the Security Council as the appropriate format for considering AI as an individual subject. It is a global issue, and limiting the discussion to Security Council members would not be right. The Summit of the Future already outlined the contours of the nascent infrastructure for considering this subject in the UN system, and the Security Council is not part of that. Mr. President, given that some colleagues insist on discussing the military aspects of the use of artificial intelligence in the Security Council, we would like to recall that for this purpose, there are also inclusive specific platforms. First and foremost, the group of governmental experts on lethal autonomous weapon systems within the framework of the Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons. And incidentally, they still have to come up with a general understanding on even the most basic issues, even on terminology. We welcome the consideration of this subject also within the UN Disarmament Commission, but without duplicating the efforts of other mechanisms. We believe it is premature to discuss the development of rules for responsible behavior when it comes to weapon systems using AI. Against this backdrop, taking the discussion on such sensitive issues to other formats without even considering the impact of AI technologies on other non-proliferation and disarmament aspects is premature to say the least. Attempts to shore up in the Security Council the approaches and directives of specific states and also to substitute them for international legal instruments is hardly going to bring us closer to forming joint approaches to the subject of the military use of AI. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation, and I now give the floor to the representative of France.
Secretary of State, Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, I must first and foremost thank the Secretary General for his statement. I also wish to thank the various briefers today for their briefings and their comments on this important issue. Artificial intelligence is one of the major revolutions of this century. It is already transforming our daily lives, our economies, the functioning of our societies, and our institutions. As a result of the opportunities for development that it creates, the use of artificial intelligence is a major challenge. It is vital that we understand the magnitude of that challenge and that we accompany that resolution such as to ensure that it benefits all of us. Mr. President, our priority must be to put into place for AI an inclusive, multi-stakeholder form of international governance which is responsible and which respects fundamental rights. As initiatives aiming to regulate AI abound, it is important to work together to avoid a fragmentation of normative systems that would lead to competition between rival and divergent models. We must ensure that the development of AI is accessible to all states and peoples across the globe and that it does not widen digital divides. These are concerns that were at the heart of the Global Digital Compact adopted by consensus with the Pact for the Future last September. It is with these goals in mind that France will host in Paris on the 10th and 11th of February a global summit for AI. One of the primary goals of that summit will be to help to forge a common bedrock for governance. This summit will bring together states, international organizations, businesses, the technical community, researchers, and civil society stakeholders. The goal will be to make progress with defining a common vision for a trustworthy AI, an AI which serves the common good. This summit will also aim to explore essential issues such as the environmental impact of AI or market concentration. Mr. President, the development of artificial intelligence has significant implications for international peace and security. We welcome the fact that the Security Council continues to deepen its discussions on the issue following the holding of a first meeting on the matter in July 2023. Certain threats for international peace and security can be amplified by the misuse of artificial intelligence. Generative AI tools are, in particular, used as part of disinformation or information manipulation campaigns designed to destabilize societies or states. In cyberspace, AI improves the capacity of malicious actors to pinpoint and exploit the vulnerabilities of information systems. The Paris Summit of the 10th and 11th of February 2025 will be a tangible opportunity to address these challenges. Against that backdrop, France actively supports international efforts aiming to promote responsible usage of AI and a use of AI which is in accordance with international law in the domain of peace and security. To this end, we co-sponsored the resolution of the applications of AI in the military domain presented to the First Committee of the General Assembly by South Korea and Netherlands. France will also continue to support work undertaken in Geneva to guarantee compliance with international humanitarian law in the potential use and development of lethal autonomous weapons systems. The decision to use force must always ultimately be one for which a human being is responsible. That was recalled by the Secretary General. Mr. President, as part of this work, the Security Council must also continue to improve how it considers AI. Whether we be talking about challenges linked to AI in peacekeeping operations or thinking about how to harness the potential of these technologies, for example, for monitoring the implementation of sanctions regimes. Thank you.
France, and I now give the floor to the representative of Guyana.
Thank you, Secretary of State Blinken, and I thank the Presidency of the United States for convening today's meeting. I also thank the Secretary General as well as Professors Lee-Kun and Lee for their insightful briefings. Mr. President, we are in an era of rapid advancement of artificial intelligence, a development that holds the potential to significantly enhance our global outlook. Many members of this Council, both past and present, have advocated for an evidence-based approach to decision-making. AI offers a unique opportunity to respond to this call, potentially revolutionizing how we tackle issues related to climate, peace and security, and the fight against food insecurity, among others. The emergence of AI, however, has undoubtedly created new vulnerabilities, which this Council must acknowledge and consider mitigation measures that could be implemented to safeguard international peace and security. Mr. President, this meeting is being held in the context of increased global conflicts, with AI playing a central role in what is now deemed the age of cyber warfare. Several examples exist of states augmenting their military arsenal with cyber capabilities. AI, therefore, risks complicating the maintenance of international peace and security due to concerns about its role in offensive and reprisal attacks, including using drones and facial recognition algorithms. In the case of the Middle East, for example, we have heard reports of civilians being monitored and sometimes attacked using drone technology. AI weapons are also being programmed and authorized to select their targets without further human authorization, increasing protection concerns. In addition, AI-piloted fighter jets and sniper drones have shown substantial capability of dominating human pilots in simulated interactions. These concerns, engendered by modern warfare, must be addressed through the appropriate global regulations. These concerns were also underscored in the Secretary General's new Agenda for Peace, which noted that, and I quote, "Developments in artificial intelligence and quantum technologies, including those related to weapon systems, are exposing the insufficiency of existing global frameworks," end of quote. Guyana acknowledges these concerns and underscores the need for the Council to give attention to AI governance, given the implications for the maintenance of international peace and security. As we have heard before, the General Assembly is already being proactive on the subject of AI, with its adoption of the two resolutions presented by the United States and China, respectively. The recently adopted Global Digital Compact also offers practical recommendations for enhancing international governance of AI. An international framework for AI governance will ensure the full and equal representation of all countries, thus creating opportunities for harnessing AI to bridge existing gaps between developed and developing countries. Mr. President, Guyana welcomes the establishment of the Secretary General's high-level advisory body on artificial intelligence, which launched its final report in September to address the global governance deficit of AI. Among the recommendations in the report, Guyana eagerly anticipates the creation of a global fund for AI. This fund, specifically designed to help developing countries, will be critical, especially for small developing states who are at risk of not benefiting from AI owing to the digital divide. We must ensure that AI benefits everyone and not accelerate inequality. This is why the proposed creation of an AI capacity development network for UN-affiliated capacity development centers is welcome. This approach can serve as a catalyst to align national, regional, and global AI advancements with positive implications for the implementation of the 2030 Agenda and the Pact for the Future. In closing, Guyana acknowledges that AI's rapid development and deployment have elicited both enthusiasm and anxiety. We must therefore develop the necessary innovative and inclusive frameworks for AI governance and cooperation to ensure that AI is used as a force for good and to mitigate its harmful use. Guyana therefore urges the Council to consider how it could advance the recommendations, including those tabled in today's meeting, to further this work for the maintenance of international peace and security. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Guyana, and I now give the floor to the representative of China.
Thank you, President. I thank Secretary Blinken for presiding over this meeting. I thank Secretary General Guterres for the important statement. And I also thank Professor Yan LeQuan and Professor Feifei Li for their important briefings. At present, with the development of AI accelerating and its role as an enabler ever increasing, AI has become an important force to promote social development and progress. AI technology is like a double-edged sword, which could become a conducive force for social governance and international security, or become a source of threats to fairness and justice and a source of danger to peace and stability. The international community should jointly strengthen the global AI governance to ensure that AI development is in conformity with the common values of mankind and that AI is safe, reliable, fair, and under control in a genuine manner. China has been exploring the scientific path of AI development and governance in a responsible manner. As early as 2017, the Chinese government issued the development plan for the new generation of AI, clearly indicating the need to address the double-edged attributes of AI with a view to preventing risks to the greatest possible extent. In 2021, China released the Code of Ethics for the new generation of AI, integrating ethics into the entire life cycle of AI. In 2023, the Chinese government issued the world's first ever legislative document on generative AI. China has been constructively engaged in the global governance of AI. In October last year, President Xi Jinping proposed the Global AI Governance Initiative, comprehensively illustrating China's position from three dimensions, that is, development, security, and governance. The resolution on enhancing international cooperation on capacity building of AI, which was tabled by China, was adopted by consensus at the 78th session of the GA. Later on, China proposed the action plan on AI capacity building for good and for all, and promoted and established the Group of Friends for International Cooperation on AI capacity building. Recently, at the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro, President Xi Jinping stressed the need to strengthen international governance and cooperation on AI and ensure that AI works for good and for all, rather than becoming a game for the rich and the powerful. Under the framework of BRICS, China and other members agreed on the establishment of an AI study group for information exchange and technological cooperation, with a view to formulating AI governance framework, norms, and standards enjoying broad consensus. On the military application of AI, an issue with significant implications on the future and destiny of mankind, China has demonstrated its vision and sense of responsibility as a responsible major power. In 2021, China submitted to the Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons a position paper on regulating the military use of AI. We maintain that all countries, major powers in particular, should adopt a prudent and responsible attitude in the military development and use of AI technology, comprehensively assess the pros and cons as well as consequences, and respect in real earnest the security concerns of other countries so as to avoid misunderstanding and miscalculations and prevent arms race. It is imperative to constantly improve the safety, reliability, and controllability of the relevant technologies to ensure that they are under human control and to oppose the misuse, abuse, and proliferation of such weapon systems. Not long ago, the heads of state of China and the United States, at their meeting in Lima, recalled the dialogue and cooperation between the two countries in the field of AI and affirmed the need to address the risks of AI systems, to improve AI security, and to enhance international cooperation for AI to be for good and for all. Both leaders stressed that a prudent and responsible attitude must be adopted in developing AI technology in the military field. Both leaders affirmed the need to uphold the decision that nuclear weapons must be under the control of humans. The law of scientific development has shown that in order to solve problems in scientific knowledge and progress, one should neither stay idle without even trying, nor stop eating for fear of choking. In view of the rapid development and use of AI technology, China has the following proposals for the international community. First, establishing clear guidelines. Security and development must be given equal attention. Smart governance must be in place, enabling better anticipation and control of risks on the one hand, and encouraging technological innovation and peaceful use on the other. It is imperative to abide by the purposes and principles of the UN Charter, observe the basic norms governing international relations, and ensure that AI technology will not become a tool for waging wars and pursuing hegemony. It is imperative to follow the people-centered approach, abide by the international humanitarian law and ethics, ensure human dignity and human rights, and refrain from indiscriminate use, abuse, or misuse of such technologies. Second, improving governance measures. It is necessary to actively develop reasonable and feasible technologies for AI governance, establish risk assessment and testing systems, and conduct hierarchical management by category. Relevant laws, rules, and regulations must be in place. Education and training targeting practitioners must be strengthened. Prevention on both the human front and the technological front must go hand in hand to prevent systematic risks brought by hacker attacks or data fraud, among others, and diminish the proliferation risk of AI's military use. Third, strengthening international cooperation. AI technology is not a cake for a small group of people, nor should its global governance be determined by just a small number of countries. China firmly opposes the practice of imposing on others the rules formulated by a small number of countries or creating small circles targeting certain countries. China firmly opposes discriminatory barriers based on ideological differences, which undermines the right of all countries, developing countries in particular, to use emerging technologies on an equal footing. Decoupling and building small courtyards with high walls runs counter to the laws of market economy, undermines the international economic order, and disrupts the stability of the global production and supply chain. Only by learning from each other between the East and the West, implementing joint governance for good and for all, seeking the greatest common denominator and expanding cooperation, can we embark on the right path. With widening technology divide, digital divide, and AI divide between the North and the South, it is important to uphold cooperation, enhance the representation and voice of developing countries, and implement the GDC so that AI technology could benefit the developing countries. In this regard, as the most universal, representative, and authoritative intergovernmental international organization, the UN should become the main channel for global AI governance and coordinate major issues related to the development and security of AI. As a major power on AI, China stands ready to actively support the relevant work of the UN and contribute to the establishment of governance norms enjoying universal participation and broad consensus. Thank you, President.
Thank the representative of China, and I now give the floor to the representative of Algeria.
Thank you, Your Excellency Antony Blinken, Secretary of State of the United States. I thank the United States for convening this important meeting at a critical juncture as we face what the Secretary General aptly described as an era of epic transformation. And we thank the Secretary General Antonio Guterres for his remark. I listened carefully to Professor Jan Leca and Professor Factual. Mr. President, artificial intelligence is changing not only our lives and work, but also the peace and security paradigm and landscapes. While the opportunities are immense, AI can help predict conflict, enhance peacekeeping, improve humanitarian response, and accelerate sustainable development. The risks are equally significant. Three fundamental challenges are before us. First, a growing AI divide that threatens to leave developing countries behind. This is not just about machines and algorithms. It is about sovereignty itself. It's about security. It's about the sacred right of nations to chart their own courses. Second, a digital landscape with new threats where AI-powered border-proof attacks can damage societies and manipulated information can poison minds. Third, the development of AI systems without adequate safeguard, potentially escalating conflicts and threatening the international peace and security. Let us be clear. International law is not optional in this new frontier. The UN Charter, humanitarian principles, human rights, these are not suggestions. They remain also the foundation of any AI for military application. Mr. President, Algeria approached these challenges through strategic initiatives that bridge security and development. Our national research and innovation strategy on artificial intelligence 2020-2030 provides a comprehensive framework for responsible AI development, supported by our National Scientific Council for AI and specialized higher education institution. Earlier this month, Algeria hosted the third African Startup Conference, bringing together over 500 startups from 50 African countries, demonstrating our continent's unified commitment to develop AI ecosystems that serve our people's need while respecting security imperatives. Mr. President, Africa's Continental Artificial Intelligence Strategy and Digital Compact are not only policies, they are our vision of AI intelligence as a force for peace, for security, for positive transformation, to turn this vision into reality and respond these challenges. 5 key measures are important. First, create inclusive international mechanism for AI security expertise, where developing countries are not just observers, but equal architects of our shared future. Second, establish a global framework for responsible AI that balances national sovereignty with international cooperation, not one at the expense of the other. Third, launch targeted capacity building programs in AI education and security assessment, because knowledge is not only power, it is survival. Fourth, develop transparent protocols for international artificial intelligence safety cooperation, because in the digital age, transparency is not optional. Last and fifth, build robust digital infrastructure and support developing countries in creating artificial intelligence strategies, because no nation should be left behind in this revolution. Mr. President, the time has come, not tomorrow, not next year, but now, for a binding framework that prevents the misuse of military artificial intelligence in ways that violate international law, international humanitarian law. Look at what we have already achieved. This year, adoptions of the Comprehensive International Convention on countering the use of information and communication technologies for criminal purposes, led by Algeria, my country, proves that meaningful multilateral actions is not just possible, it is imperative. The choice before us could not be partial. We can let artificial intelligence deepen the inequality and create new security nightmares, or we can harness it as a force for peace, for security, and for development for all nations. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Algeria, and I now give the floor to the representative of Sierra Leone.
Thank you and welcome to the Council, Mr. President, Excellency Antony J. Blinken, United States Secretary of State. Let me also thank the United States Presidency for convening this important high-level meeting on artificial intelligence and the maintenance of international peace and security. I thank His Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, for his insightful briefing. We take note of the thought-provoking contributions of Professor Ian LaCoon and Professor Feifei Li. The topic for today's high-level briefing is not only timely, but highly relevant, as we acknowledge the significant implications of AI on the global landscape and present-day realities. This includes its potential to transform societies and economies, and equally, the risk it poses to peace and security, particularly when misapplied in military context. The rapid development of AI technology, as highlighted in the outcomes of ongoing international dialogues, including the Secretary General's July 2023 policy brief and the Global Digital Compact annexed to the Pact to the Future, the General Assembly resolutions led by the United States and China present both tremendous opportunities and significant challenges. AI holds the potential to address a wide range of global issues within the framework of sustainable development. However, as AI becomes increasingly pervasive, we must also recognize its ability to disrupt peace and security in both civilian and military domains. It is in this regard that Sierra Leone is of the view that AI can play a pivotal role in maintaining peace and security by enhancing decision-making, improving situational analysis and awareness, enabling proactive conflict prevention and management. We therefore fully support the referenced ongoing international dialogue and initiatives, including the high-level advisory body on AI, which underscores the importance of creating a robust international ecosystem for AI governance. Mr. President, as our briefers and other council members have already noted, AI holds immense promise for advancing sustainable development, improving governance, and fostering peace. However, its unregulated deployment risks exacerbating inequality, fueling conflict, and undermining the dignity of human life. For post-conflict and developing countries striving to sustain peace, the stakes could not be higher. For the African continent, the misuse of AI poses unique risks. In most parts of Africa, where digital infrastructure is still developing, there is a growing vulnerability to AI-enabled disinformation campaigns, which could destabilize fragile social fabrics and undermine democratic processes. Additionally, the potential militarization of AI, if left unchecked, could exacerbate regional insecurities, threaten peacekeeping, and endanger civilian protections. Accordingly, the principles outlined in the African Union Peace and Security Council's communique on AI, adopted on 13th June 2024, are particularly resonant for Sierra Leone. We strongly agree that AI should be human-centric, prioritizing the well-being of people over the interests of technology companies or military objectives. This includes addressing concerns about bias in AI systems, ensuring the rights to privacy, and protections against the use of AI for surveillance and other forms of social control. The AU's emphasis on responsible development and governance of AI aligns with our belief that the international community must act proactively to ensure that AI is developed and deployed in a manner that promotes peace, equity, and global cooperation while preventing its misuse. The key aspects of the AUPSC AI communique include instructing the African Union Commission to undertake a comprehensive study on the impact and implication of AI on peace, security, stability, democracy, and development in Africa, mainstreaming AI in all peace processes, including facilitating its integration in peace-building initiatives, leveraging AI for mediation, reconciliation, and post-conflict reconstruction, develop frameworks to oversee the responsible integration of AI in military operations, as well as ensuring compliance with ethical standards and international humanitarian law, amongst others. Sierra Leone therefore has and remains supportive of initiatives at the international and regional levels that call for timely action and cooperation to ensure the deployment and use of safe, secure, and trustworthy AI systems for sustainable development and peace. It is critical to expand participation of all countries, in particular developing countries, in digital transformation to harness the benefits and effective participation, including by capacity building. Promoting knowledge-sharing activities and the transfer of technology and mutually agreed terms is an important aspect of capacity development. Further, AI capacity building should not only be about technology transfer, but also about building local expertise, strengthening regulatory frameworks, and ensuring that countries have the necessary legal and institutional structures to manage the risks associated with AI. This will require coordinated efforts from international organizations, including the United Nations and regional bodies like the African Union. We therefore support the establishment of a global AI fund, as proposed by the High-Level Advisory Body on AI, to ensure that developing countries have the resources and technical support needed to safely and effectively integrate AI in our economies and societies. Mr. President, in addressing the key questions for today's briefing on how AI can contribute to the maintenance of international peace and security, Sierra Leone wishes to underscore the following 4 points. Firstly, on conflict prevention and early warning system, and while respecting the principles of the UN Charter, AI algorithms can analyze vast data sets, including economic indicators, political events, and social media trends to predict tensions, potential conflict, or instability. Also, machine learning models can detect patterns of escalating tensions by monitoring inter-area troop movement or trade disruptions. Furthermore, AI can identify regions at risk of instability and suggest optimal allocation of humanitarian aid or peacekeeping resources to prevent escalation of potential conflict situations. Secondly, AI can facilitate diplomacy and conflict resolution through analysis of data to identify areas of misunderstanding or potential consensus. Additionally, AI can gauge public and leadership sentiment in conflict regions, helping mediators design more effective peace-building strategies. Thirdly, AI can assist in optimizing the deployment of peacekeeping forces by analyzing data on conflict intensity, geography, and logistics. More importantly, AI systems can process real-time input from civilians and organizations to map conflict zones, refugee movement, and humanitarian needs. Fourth and finally, as AI technologies become more integrated into military applications, with the evident risk to international security, the use of AI in military systems, especially autonomous weapons, must address the profound concerns regarding accountability, the potential for unintended escalation, and compliance with the law on the use of force and international humanitarian law. The military application of AI should be governed by clear international standards that prioritize human oversight and adhere to international law. There must be transparency, dialogue, and multilateral engagement on this issue to ensure that AI in the military domain does not contribute to destabilization or the erosion of international norms. In closing, Mr. President, Sierra Leone is fully in support of peaceful uses of AI, especially in terms of enhancing peace building and sustaining peace initiatives. This is why we collaborated with Slovenia and Switzerland in calling for joint action to implement the Secretary General's new agenda for peace during our August presidency of this Council. Within that context, the aforementioned trio of countries, and during the Swiss presidency in October, we also called on the Council to act early and manage uncertainty by seeking expert advice and collaborate with academia and research institutions to provide the Council with evidence-based information and other relevant assistance to help prevent conflict. AI can ultimately assist in this regard, and I thank you.
I thank the representative of Sierra Leone, and I now give the floor to the representative of Slovenia.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank the Secretary General for his briefing. I also thank Mr. Lecoun and Dr. Lee for sharing their perspectives. Slovenia considered it very important that the voice of all, including those from the private sector and academia, who are the engines of fast development and change, are heard in our deliberations on digital and emerging technologies. Mr. President, the magnitude of the artificial intelligence revolution is evident not only in its impact on our social fabric, our economies, science, and increasingly warfare, but also in the parallel efforts to establish effective governance. With two consensually adopted General Assembly resolutions on AI and the adoption of the Global Digital Compact earlier this year, the United Nations has recognized its unique convening power and taken the lead in the global conversation on AI governance alongside various other initiatives. Moreover, important work within the UN is underway regarding the establishment of a global dialogue on AI governance, and rightly so. AI governance is becoming increasingly essential to global stability and requires inclusive multilateral engagement at all levels, including within the Security Council. Mr. President, as the Secretary General has noted, artificial intelligence represents both the greatest opportunity and at the same time an existential threat. When it comes to global stability, AI can, on one hand, be harnessed positively, for example, to support efforts for conflict prevention and peace building. On the other hand, AI can enable complex, cross-border threats such as cyber operations, disinformation campaigns, violent extremist content, and terrorist propaganda. It can be used to fuel the proliferation of autonomous weapons, further complicating efforts to ensure oversight and accountability. Therefore, we strongly believe that the Council's primary role in maintaining international peace and security necessitates addressing AI-related risks to ensure that AI is designed, developed, deployed, and used in full compliance with international law, in particular international humanitarian and human rights law. Mr. President, the risks are not speculative or distant. They are a reality in contemporary conflicts such as Gaza, where reports indicate that artificial intelligence is being used as a tool to identify targets, particularly in densely populated residential areas, resulting in significant civilian casualties. In this regard, we advocate for the integration of AI-related discussions into the Council, including through briefings like this one, to ensure that members pay attention and provide responses to these risks within existing Council mandates, as well as other geographic and thematic issues. By fostering synergies to strengthen AI governance for international peace and security, we reaffirm the Council's complementary role in supporting the efforts pursued in the General Assembly and other fora engaged in AI governance. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Slovenia, and I now give the floor to the representative of Japan.
Thank you, Secretary Blinken. Japan appreciates the U.S. presidency for taking the initiative in organizing this meeting. I also appreciate Secretary General Guterres, Professor Yan Kam, and Professor Fei Li for their informative and insightful inputs. Mr. President, we have a common understanding that AI brings both opportunities and risks. Depending on how it is used, it can bring prosperity or pose a threat to humanity. Irresponsible use of AI in the military field could lead to the outbreak and escalation of conflicts. The misuse of AI can cause dissemination and spread of disinformation, thereby undermining democracy and abusing human rights. In the non-military domain, we must ensure safe, secure, and trustworthy AI while maximizing its potential and mitigating its risks. The rule of law and human security should serve as the foundation principles when we develop and use responsible AI. Japan has been pursuing an AI strategy, underscoring a society where human dignity is respected. It is also essential to close all digital divides so all countries and people can utilize AI without being left behind. Digital cooperation, including capacity building and infrastructure development related to AI, should be promoted. From this perspective, Japan co-sponsored the UN General Assembly Resolution 78/265, adopted this past March, which was a major step forward. Let me thank again the US for spearheading this effort. The Global Digital Compact adopted last September will also serve as a policy guideline for the future efforts. Mr. President, with respect to AI in the non-military domain, we see a growing need for building up global discussions AI governance. It is also important to ensure interoperability among different AI governance frameworks. Under the Hiroshima AI process, which was launched last year under Japan's initiative, the international guiding principles for all AI actors and the International Code of Conduct for organizations developing advanced AI systems were developed. We are now promoting their implementation, including through the Hiroshima AI Friends Group, and will continue to cooperate to realize safe, security, and trustworthy AI. Mr. President, to ensure responsible use of AI in the military domain, appropriate measures should be implemented throughout the life cycle of military AI capabilities. Our commitment to uphold human-centered principles and apply international legal obligations, including international humanitarian law, is essential. In this vein, Japan supports the initiative of RIEM and the political declaration on responsible military use of AI and autonomy. Regarding lethal autonomous weapon systems, the group of government experts should continue to play a central role. Japan will actively and constructively contribute to the effective cooperation for the sake of implementation by the whole international community. Mr. President, in conclusion, AI has broad and diverse impacts in unexpected ways. As expressed at its high-level briefing in October, the Security Council needs to systematically consider the impact of scientific and technological developments on international peace and security going forward. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Japan. There are no more names inscribed on the list of speakers. The meeting is thus adjourned.